I felt quite confident for this until about Tuesday, and then I watched Jodie's YouTube clip, and inside about the first 60 seconds, 3 times she said, "Make it interesting." For those of you that don't know me, I'm an accountant, so it might not be interesting, but as you can tell from the title, if it fails on being interesting, hopefully it's going to be useful. Now, just do a quick poll. I won't actually be paying and writing a cheque for your ticket, but if I offered everyone in this room a cheque for £50 that was a tax rebate and it's legitimate, hand up if you'd take it. Right. You might not be able to sort it for everyone because it depends on who runs companies and who works for other people, but some of you in this room, I'm fairly certain, can walk away from tonight with about 50 quid. Now, very briefly, technically, what happens is if you work for someone else, every month you'll get a pay slip. And what you get every year is the first £9,440 of your salary is tax-free. So what they do is they give you that every month and spread it equally, so it's £787 a month. If your salary year is £15,000, it equates to £1,250. So if you look on your pay slip to work out the tax, they take 787 away from 1,250, which is 787 is tax-free, and you pay tax at 20% on the balance, which is £93 in that example. Now, I could ring everyone's boss tomorrow and try and increase the £15,000, but within 10 seconds they'll tell me where to go and shove it, and I don't want to have that conversation. But the tax-free amount is adjustable. So if we can legitimately increase how much you get tax-free, the amount you pay tax on drops, so the tax you pay drops, and what hits your bank account every month will go up. So, how do we do this? Legally. Now, has anyone in this room, apart from Tracy, heard of Form P87 work-related expenses? Oh, we have one, we have two, so you guys might already be doing this. We might flag some things you're not putting on there, but for the rest of you, this will be new. Now, the kind of things you can put on these forms, you might be paying for things that you can link to your job and improvements in your role and your work life that your boss just doesn't reimburse you for. You might be scared to ask, or if you ask, they might say, "No chance, I'm not paying that, I'm only giving you your salary." If you add those expenses up, you can stick them on this form. Now, if you pay them yourself and get reimbursed, then don't put them on. If you get reimbursed a small amount, then put them on and you put on the amount you get reimbursed. The kind of things we're talking about, I'll just talk you through an example. I've got a friend who was training to be a solicitor, and he had to pay his own student society fees, and quite easily was paying these because he was training for the job he was doing, so it's a legitimate work expense, but he had to pay it himself, and it was 200 quid a year. So on this form there's a section where you can just group other things like subscriptions and training costs, and we put it on subscription paid to whatever the society was, £200. Sent the form off to Revenue and Customs. They looked at it, said, "Yeah, this is fine, not a problem." And then he put £200 on, they increased his tax-free amount by £200, so he pays tax at 20%, he got a cheque back for 20% of the £200, so 40 quid. So if everyone got £200 in this room, it covers your annual dinner. He came and saw me the following year, he'd failed his exam, and he wanted to do it again, but his boss wouldn't pay for it. So he took the cash. There was a 2-week training course and exam. He paid £2,000. Filled this form and he got 400 quid back. He went on holiday. I got a pat on the back, but that's the way it happens. Now, you might be thinking, well, I'm not studying for a qualification, so it doesn't apply to me. But what has everyone in this room got in common?
JCI.
JCI. Is it work related?
Yes.
For some people, can fully justify it is. If you can look the taxman in the eye and say you have joined JCI for work related reasons, or some of the events you're attending are work related, then capture your JCI costs on this form. Who pays the subscription fee themselves? 120 quid straight away. 20% of 120 quid is 24 quid in your back pocket. If you're lucky enough to earn more than 42 grand a year, it's 40% you get back. So I've nearly paid for the annual dinner on subscription alone. One little catch that Tracy will mention to me last week, you have to put who you pay the subscription to, and for some reason some chambers aren't recognised. So if people are in different chambers, if you let me know, I can ring Revenue and Customs and just find out whether to put Barnsley, Sheffield or just JCI UK. Now it's not just your subscription. Inspiration Day. £37.50 equals in tax back £8. Add it onto your 24, already over £30. So we're getting closer and closer. If you go to National Convention, training courses there, over £100. Again, £20 in tax. It all keeps adding up and adding up. One thing you might not think about is you hop on your car to drive to this training course. Mileage. If you top up your mileage that you're doing each year for training courses, council meetings, if you feel being a council member benefits your role, and that's just not locally, nationally, you must cover some miles going to, say, Birmingham, London. You add up all those miles, alright, miles isn't £1, so you're allowed to claim 45p a mile. You capture that on this form. Some people could be claiming 100, 150 quid, even more back. So for me, if you're happy that JCI is work related, you're in a win-win situation. I'll listen, giving it a go. One final thing on that form is that if you wear work uniforms, not smart workwear but branded uniforms, something called uniform tax rebate, because you are washing your own uniforms. You'll have to put 60 quid on this form for that. I can guarantee tomorrow Benny's wearing his Goes Happy t-shirt. And rather frustratingly, I've realised I've done that bit without going on to the next slide, which actually backs all of what I've been saying. But anyway, we've got some things. If you add those up and each year it comes to more than £2,500, you can't put it on the form, you have to put it on a tax return. So if you do get to that stage, give us a shout, or Tracy a shout, we can point you in the right direction for doing that. Also, you can backdate these 3 or 4 years. So if you think the last 3 or 4 years you've got some whopping expenses, just do one for each tax year and send them all in at once. When I learnt about this, I did it, got about 500 quid back. It's worth doing. So that's pretty much everything on that form. Very briefly, some other things that may get you little bits of tax back. If at some stage in the future or now you've got kids or planning on having kids, if you take some of your salary and what are called childcare vouchers, they are tax-free. There's little catches with them. The person you're paying for childcare can't be your mother. It's got to they've got to have certain qualifications and be registered with certain bodies. But that can save you £1,000 a year in tax. And that's per person in the marriage or partnership. So if you and your husband, wife do it, it's £2,000 a year potentially. Child tax credits as well. If you're earning up to £20,000 or £30,000, there's potential that you could be claiming there. As much as £20,000 claiming. There's lots of tables on that. I could be here all day on child tax credits. It's based on how many hours you work, whether you're married, what your salaries are. And final point is working tax credits. A lot of times when people are starting their careers, they can be on less than £30,000 a year. So if you're over 25 and work more than 30 hours, then you can be claiming working tax credits. The only other thing that's not on the slide is if you live together with husband, wife or partner, it's your joint income. So if both of you together are more than 13, you can't claim. The age restriction will be dropping soon, with more people coming into work at 18 or 19. That's pretty much everything I was going to cover. So we've got lots of other tax saving tips, but 10 minutes can't cover them all. So if you've any questions, shout now or catch me at the end or another time.
2 ones. First of all, when you say JCI deductible, seeing as we've all just bought our JCI branded shirts, can we claim 60 quid back 14 then?
60 quid for a £10 t-shirt.
Is the camera still rolling?
Yeah.